Luna looked calm on the outside, but on the inside, her mind was chaos.
This is bad. I'm running out of mana points and I only have a single potion remaining. It isn't enough. I can't do this for much longer.
She had just joined this party by chance while finishing up her tutorial quest. Clerics were always welcomed to parties because every party needed a healer. She was not playing with anyone else, so she thought it would be a good idea to join and make new friends. Little did she know that she would be dragged into such a hopeless situation and left in a pitiful state. One of her party members was flung aside and bitten by the huge wolf, instantly killing them. There were only her and 4 other people remaining from the original strong party of 10 players. 2 of them were from the party she joined, and the other 2 were from the party they teamed up with to take down this boss. 1 warrior, 1 fighter, 2 mages, and 1 cleric were all that remained. One of the mages from the party Luna's group teamed up with panicked.
This isn't possible to beat right now! We have to escape from here!
He was constantly glancing at his other party member, who was the fighter of the remaining group, as though he was giving him a hint. The warrior could not see what they were up to, because he was too busy holding off the monstrous wolf. The fighter was slowly starting to withdraw further and further from the fight, while nearing his mage party member. While the warrior kept the wolf occupied, they found a chance to slip away. Although the warrior and mage from Luna's party did not notice the other 2 members' movements, Luna did. She looked extremely gloomy as she thought to herself,
even if I shout out to warn my party members, there's a chance that I will only end up distracting them and causing one of them to die.
The sound of a claw tearing through armor could be heard as the warrior took a massive amount of damage. Luna was barely keeping up with the heals, and her mana was rapidly decreasing. If the warrior took another hit like that too soon, they would be completely done for. As soon as that demonic wolf monster struck the warrior, the fighter and the mage made a run for it. They actually ran away from the battle. The remaining warrior and mage were shocked, but it did not take long before that shock turned into rage. They abandoned them without warning. Anyone would be boiling with anger after all the sacrifices made for this fight. The warrior shouted in a loud fit of rage before taking out his anger on the demonic wolf beast before him.
Cowards! All of you!
The mage was visibly upset.
Luna will probably all die here, but I'd rather lose a bit of experience and an item than run away with my tail between my legs like those guys.
Luna nodded.
Focus on the fight for now. We still have a chance if we work together properly.
She knew that it was nearly impossible while staring at this monstrous beast before them, as the spirit voice informed her.
Name, Demonic Beast Shadow Wolf. Level, unknown. Skills, unknown.
Halls and Quince had grim faces when they heard Luna speak. They knew that she was just trying to give them hope, but this situation was absolutely hopeless. Though, even knowing that, they still decided not to give up. A look of greed flashed in Mick's eyes.
A world boss!
That same look appeared in Ryder and Tina's eyes as well. That was a world boss, perhaps even the only known one so far. If they could defeat it, the experience points and rewards would be out of this world. Mick pointed up ahead.
Look, its health point is almost down to 1/3. If we help them out, maybe we can actually beat that thing.
Mick did not need to say anything further. The 3 of them knew each other well enough to understand what he was getting at. While they were busy being blinded by greed, Logan looked over toward the direction where the 2 other people ran.
Cowards!
That was the only thing that came to mind as Logan scoffed at their actions. Logan turned his attention back to the battle. The stats on the monster are pretty high. Logan took a moment to search his memories, or rather those he inherited. I see, so that's why it has such high stats. A world boss is meant to be taken on by a large group of people. This could be considered one of the easier world bosses, taking into account its strength. I guess being a hardcore gamer has its benefits. Logan then looked to the cleric in the back, Luna. She manages to perfectly time the heals. There has not been a single point of mana or heal wasted. She's also keeping calm under such intense conditions. Not bad. Being able to remain calm in these kinds of situations is something that's hard to accomplish. Logan had a certain respect for people with that kind of temperament. After all, you could easily teach techniques or skills, but learning how to remain calm under extreme circumstances? Not many could successfully do that. Logan suddenly got an alert. Logan had been kicked from the party. The max number of party members was 6 people. Since there were 3 of them and 3 people left fighting, they had to make some room. After all, there was no way this idiot dared to run away this deep into the forest. Plus, they might get something even better than a rare weapon from this world boss. Though, of course, they would not let Logan off that easily after what he put them through. Mick looked at Logan with disdain written all over his face.
Stay here. We're going to go help them finish off that boss. If you try to run away, well, don't blame me for being impolite.
This was the first time that Mick revealed his true rotten nature. Logan's heart grew cold as he was talked down to and threatened as he stared at Mick. He dared to threaten him? Logan could not even remember the last time someone dared to threaten him. No one had ever dreamt of threatening him before. Mick had a smug look on his face when he saw Logan wasn't responding or trying to run away. He thought that he'd scared Logan silly, and they dared not to move. Little did he know that he silently sealed his own fate. Mick nodded towards Ryder and Tina, who looked satisfied now that they believed Mick put Logan in his place. They would make sure to have their own fun and repay the humiliation from earlier later on. The 3 walked out of the trees and toward the world boss. The situation was even more dire than it was a few moments ago. The fact that the 3 of them were holding on by themselves could be called a miracle, but Luna's healing was so perfectly timed and placed that it was keeping them in the fight much longer than expected. Though, she could not take all the credit. Halls was also a good tank, timing his blocks perfectly and avoiding damage anytime he could, but still maintaining the aggro on the Shadow Wolf. Halls struck out with his sword, doing some damage to the wolf, though at this rate it was hopeless. A fireball formed in Quince's hand as he aimed it towards the Shadow Wolf. The fireball flew through the air, striking the Shadow Wolf near the right side of its face. The Shadow Wolf angrily howled before smashing down with its massive claws towards Halls. Halls managed to block the claw with his shield, but he still felt like his knees were going to collapse from the pressure. Suddenly, a warm, pale green light enveloped Halls and healed the damage his body sustained. It was Luna who used Cure on him. Halls appreciated this greatly.
Nice heal, Luna!
All the fights up until now had been very easy. They hadn't even needed to try. Now he understood why that was. Luna was an absolute monster of a cleric. The timing of her heals were so exact it was almost like she was a computer, programmed for that specific task. Luna grew weary. My mana points can't hold out for much longer. I have another 3 cures remaining before I have to drink my potion. Keeping up this level of concentration during such an intense battle was exhausting. One small slip-up could cause everything to collapse. That's why she had to remain as calm as possible. When Halls and Quince heard that, they were silent as they continued to fight. They knew that Luna tried her best, and if it was any other healer, they would have long since died. They could only silently wait until she ran out of mana, and for their inevitable deaths to arrive. Just as they all fell into a gloomy mood, Mick shouted from not too far away.
Hey, we've come to help! Invite us to the party with you!
Behind him was a woman with a cleric's staff in her hands. Another person was there too, but he disappeared as they entered the battle range. That was most likely a rogue. Halls was extremely shocked, but quickly regained his composure. Help had arrived. They had a bit more hope at last. He quickly made a bit of distance between him and the Shadow Wolf and invited Mick and Tina to the party. Luna frowned on the inside. She didn't know why, but she got a sense of dark energy from those two. Maybe she only imagined it, but she decided to be on guard regardless. Mick flashed a friendly smile.
Mind handing me the party leader? I have a rogue I need to invite to the party as well.
Halls frowned. Asking for the party leader role was a bit much. After all, he was a complete stranger. But this situation called for all the help they could get, and so he had no choice but to trust them. Halls handed over the party leader to Mick, and soon another person joined their party.
After you invite him, return the party leader back to me.
Because they were now a part of the same party, the others could clearly see a rogue sneaking up behind the Shadow Wolf. A small, evil grin appeared on Mick's face as he rushed forward toward the Shadow Wolf.
Look out!
Then, he ran forward and blocked the attack from the Shadow Wolf. Halls was furious that Mick had not given him back the party leader role, but he didn't have time to speak because the Shadow Wolf focused its attacks on him again. The three of them knew each other well enough to understand what he was getting at. Luna looked at Halls, who had a look of disgust on his face. The spirit voice laid out Hall's stats.
Name, Halls. Class, Warrior. Level, 6.
Luna glanced over at Quince, who stood with his eyes wide. Spirit voice explained Quince's stats.
Name, Quince. Class, Mage. Level, 6.
Luna gulped nervously and looked down at her own hands as the spirit voice verbalized her stats.
Name, Luna. Class, Cleric. Level, 6.
Logan watched what unfolded and couldn't help but look toward Mick and his little group of friends with contempt and disdain. He already had a good guess as to what they planned. There was no way those three greedy people would ever share anything with anyone. As soon as they got the chance, they would stab them in the back. A small smile appeared on Logan's face as he looked at the battle. If any of you make it out of this forest alive, may I be struck down by the heavens themselves. Logan slowly left the trees and appeared within view of the group fighting the Shadow Wolf.